All right. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You eat a good breakfast. Maybe you have some cereal, some oatmeal, a smoothie, and you feel really proud of yourself, right? You're doing good. And then by 10:30, you're checking your bag to see what snacks you have. So it's not that you're bored, you're actually hungry. Again, if that's you, you're in the right place. We're going to get into that today. Why are you always hungry? And this is why your body is not burning the fat that's on your body. So, I'm Ryan. I am a keto coach. I am a certified advocate through the Metabolic Terrain Institute of Health, and I am passionate about helping men and women suffering from metabolic issues to reclaim their health and vitality through lifestyle changes. And we are in the midst of our Keto Reset series. And so I'm talking today to that one woman in particular. Maybe she's like over 40. She's done every diet under the sun, but she's smart, she's disciplined in every other area of her life. But food feels like that one place where it's just not clicking. And she wants three things. She wants her clothes to fit again. She wants her labs to stop moving in the wrong direction. And she wants to stop thinking about food all day long. So last week, I talked about why ketosis is still a thing we should be considering, right? It's not a bad diet. And we talked about the benefits of being in ketosis. And we focused on one simple change. So we didn't just try to go straight keto, right? We didn't change everything all at once. We just changed one thing. We changed our breakfast. We looked at having a higher fat, moderate protein breakfast. We said a 3-to-1 fat to protein ratio, and we pulled our carbs all the way down to pretty much zero, right? So I gave my example of what I have for breakfast. Generally, it was eggs and butter, a fatty coffee or fatty tea, and we just changed breakfast, nothing else. And I asked that you just kind of notice, right? So if you are with me on this, were you still starving at 10 o'clock in the morning? Did you snack less throughout the day? Did your energy feel a little bit more steady? So you can let me know if you are trying this out with me and you've noticed a small shift. Okay. So these little changes are clues that your body is learning to run a different way. And today we are going to answer the big question behind all of this is why am I always so hungry? Even when I try to do the right thing, I'm trying to eat the right foods, why is my body holding on to fat when clearly I am not starving in real life, right? And many times we're taught like it's about willpower. You just need to eat less. Stop being so greedy, right? You should just get up from the table, try harder. And I don't buy into that. And I don't think you should buy into that either. And I want to show you that your hunger is telling a very clear story, and it has to do with the kind of fuel your body is used to burning and the hormones that control whether you can reach for that stored fat or not. So today we are going to do three things. I'm going to show you in simple language the difference between carb burning and fat burning. And we're going to connect that to what you'll actually feel in your day. The cravings, the nap after lunch, the evening snacking, all of that. And third, we're going to tie it back to that new breakfast that if you're following along, you will be eating, and see why that little change starts to put you in fat burning mode. Okay, so let's get into it. I should have some slides here. So let's pop them up on the screen. There we go. All right, I got a little tea. I need to take a little sip and then we're going to go. This is a rooibos chai, decaffeinated or no caffeine chai tea with some coconut milk in it. All right, here we go. So I want you to check in with yourself for a second and tell me if this sounds like you. So you eat a meal and you should be fine for a few hours, but like an hour and a half later, you are already scanning your kitchen, right? You're looking in the cabinets. You just need a little something to kind of take that edge off, and you're not really sure what you want, but you know you're just not satisfied. Or maybe it's about 3 in the afternoon and it feels like everything has just kind of left you, right? Like somebody like pulled the plug. Your brain is slowing down, your eyes are getting heavy, and you're thinking, maybe I should just get another coffee or grab something sweet. And you feel like, oh, I just need like a little pick me up, right? So you grab the snack and you feel better for a little bit, but then like right before dinner, the crash happens again and you're super, super hungry. Or maybe the nights for you are the danger zone, right? You eat your dinner, you clean up, and then you're sitting on the couch and thinking about, some ice cream or some chips or some popcorn would sound really good, right? You're not physically starving, but there's a pull, there's a desire, and you tell yourself, I was good all day. I deserve it. But then you feel frustrated with yourself later because maybe you ate the whole pint of ice cream. So if any of that sounds familiar, let me know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Like, I'm struggling with the late night eating or the afternoon crash, or I'm snacking all day long. So here's the thing, right? It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're sitting around all day doing nothing. You're working, right? I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably have a job. You're probably running your family. You're probably taking care of someone, and you're probably smart. You know how to read the labels. You've tried all the programs. You've done the Weight Watchers. You've done the calorie counting. You've cut out the sugar. Maybe you've even tried keto in the past, right? You care about your health, and you want your clothes to start fitting better. You want to be around for your grandkids. You want to start feeling like yourself again. All of these things. So when you are always hungry or always thinking about food, it feels like personal. You're thinking, okay, what is wrong with me? Why can everybody else seemingly handle, a normal lunch or normal meal, and I'm over here like digging through the snack drawer or looking in the pantry in the afternoon for a snack? So if that's you, it's really not random, and it's your body telling you that you've been relying on the fuel that you've been relying on, which are carbs. And I'm going to unpack that in a second. So let's take a look. So many of us are thinking that we're just fighting, our willpower. And I'll hear women say all the time, man, I just need to be more disciplined, right? Or I'm good until I get home from work and then I ruin it. Or I know what to do, but I just can't seem to stick to it. And I'm going to push back on that because, again, if you can hold down a job, you can raise kids, you can show up for everybody else, you can pay your bills, you can manage your appointments, your kids' appointments, remember everybody's schedule. I don't think you have a willpower problem. I think it's a fuel problem. So think about like your phone for a second, right? If your phone was dying every 3 hours, you wouldn't say that your phone is weak, right? You wouldn't say, oh, my phone needs more discipline. It needs to just stay on. You would say that something is probably wrong with the battery, right? Or something is up with the way that I'm charging it. You would look at the system and you wouldn't blame the phone's character, right? And your body is the same. So you've been asking it to run your whole life on a certain fuel, mostly carbs, eaten in excess, because sadly, that's what food companies push, what the government pushes, all of these servings of carbohydrates and lots of glucose spikes all throughout the day. And I grew up with the food pyramid. You learned it in school, and the bottom of the grains and the pasta and the cereal and the rice, and they tell you 6 to 11 servings each day of grains, pasta, cereal, rice, all of that. So starches were the foundation of our plates. And the USDA's guidelines, although they've changed slightly, I think it's 6-ish servings of carbs a day. That's way too much for me. Like that would not work for me. But our bodies have learned that this is just how we operate, right? We burn through the quick stuff, the quick carbs, and then we scream for more. And we have been trained from birth pretty much to eat all day long. Right? I talk to my son about this all the time because he's eating all day long. So they have breakfast at home, right? And then they go to school. And some schools now, they have breakfast, right? They have breakfast at school. Some kids are having breakfast at home and breakfast at school. Maybe, maybe not. But then there's a snack, right? In the middle of the morning. And then they have lunch. And then they come home from school and then they have a snack again, but the after school snack, right? And then they have dinner. And then they might have an after dinner treat. And that behavior is ingrained. We've been doing it since we were kids, right? So all the snacks that we've been trained to eat and all the eating, we're spiking our blood sugar. And the snacks that we're choosing are often, especially as kids, they're having sugar snacks. They're having the chips, the crackers, even the fruit. Excess fruit is going to spike your blood sugar. So what you're calling like no willpower is simply this. Your body's fuel tank got low and you only trained it to pull from one kind of gas. So, of course, it's going to yell for the fuel that it knows, carbs. So now as an adult, when it's 10:30 and you're running to the snack drawer at work, it's your fuel system that's talking, right? That 3 p.m. crash is your fuel system that's talking. That nighttime snacking spiral, the fuel system is talking. It's very predictable. And I hope that this is like feeling more freeing, right? So if you've been following along and you changed your breakfast in the last video, if you were able to go from breakfast to lunch and not feel hungry, I didn't give you more willpower to do that, right? There was no like hypnotizing through the screen. All we did is we changed the fuel signal. We lowered the carbs, we raised the fat, we kept the protein nice and strong. So we calmed insulin down. And you may have noticed that on the mornings that you actually did it, and I hope that you did it. And if you haven't, go back and watch that video and do it. But on the mornings that you did it, there was less frantic energy around food. And it's not because you're turning into a better person or you're becoming more disciplined. It's that your body is getting a different message. So today, as we're talking about carb burning versus fat burning, I want you to keep this lens on. Okay. We're not broken. Your body is doing the best it can with the instructions that we've been given it since we were little. And the good news is that the instructions can change. And you change the first instruction with your breakfast. So today I'm going to show you what those instructions actually are under the hood so you can stop guessing and stop beating yourself up. Okay, so on the next slide, I'm going to lay out the two main fuel modes that your body can run on. So let's take a look. Oops, here we go. So let's zoom out for a second and to keep it very simple. So your body has two main ways that it can run. It can run on carbs or it can run on fat, and that's it. Two main fuel modes. In carb burning mode, your body is living meal to meal. In fat burning mode, your body can tap into the storage that it already has. Okay, so let me break it down into like real life terms. So carb burning looks like you eat something for that breaks down into sugar. You have your oatmeal, your toast, you have granola bar, a big bowl of fruit, and your blood sugar rises and your pancreas is sending out insulin to clean that sugar out of your blood, right? Get the sugar into your cells. The sugar goes into your cells for energy and the extra gets stored. So you get a little burst of energy, you feel awake for a bit, and then the blood sugar drops. So your brain is looking for, okay, where's my energy source? So you think that you need a snack, or you need more coffee, or you need coffee and a snack, right? And that's the whole cycle of carb burning. But fat burning is different. In fat burning mode, the carbs are lower and less frequent. So your insulin stays calmer and your body is not dealing with those big spikes all the time. So when your insulin is calm, your body can finally open the door to the stored fat and it can say, okay, we have fuel on board our bodies. We don't need to panic. We can just pull from there. And that fuel is steadier. Um, it doesn't feel like a rush and a crash. It feels like, okay, I made it from breakfast to lunch without being hangry, without wanting to bite someone's head off. So here's the important part. Most of us in this country have been trained into carb burning from childhood. And I just talked about that, right? The cereal and juice for breakfast. We have the sandwich and chips for lunch. We have the pasta for dinner and then snacks all day long. So your body does what a smart body does and it adapts. It says, okay, we are carb people. We burn the quick stuff. When that runs out, we'll just scream and yell for more. Right? It's a pattern that our body has been put under. So another analogy is imagine that you're at a job where you're paid in cash several times throughout the day. So 9 o'clock, you get paid. At noon, you get paid. Another bit of money at 3 o'clock, some more money at 7, and you get used to that. So you're just spending what comes in. And you count on having those little paychecks showing up, right? Now imagine that one day your pay schedule changes. You work all morning and nobody hands you anything. You work in the afternoon, still nothing. You would start to panic, right? You'd be like, okay, how am I supposed to live if I'm not getting paid all day long? Because in this story, you actually have a savings account, right? With plenty of money in it. You're just not touching it, right? You forget that you can pull from it to cover the costs of things between the checks, right? That's your body. The constant carb grazing, the snacking, the big carb meals, it's like you're getting paid all day long. Quick fuel just keeps coming in over and over again. And you have stored fat in the savings account, right? It's in there. You have it, but in carb burning mode, your body is just not used to tapping into that savings. So it's just waiting for the next little paycheck, right? The next little stack of carbs. So when we talk about fat burning mode, we're not talking about being on a trendy diet, right? We are talking about training your body to finally say, okay, I don't need to be paid every couple hours because I have some savings, so I can live off of what is already stored on my body between these meals. And that's what fat burning is. All right. So let's go into what carb burning actually feels like so you can recognize it. And then we'll talk about what fat burning actually feels like. Okay, so carb burning, what it feels in real life is you eat, you get a little bit of energy, and then you think, okay, I'm all right. And then a couple hours later, the energy drops, your brain is fuzzy, you're thinking about food again, but it's really loud, it's really bossy. It's like, feed me, feed me, feed me now, right? That's carb burning mode. And it's like a kind of like a spoiled child, right? It's picky, it wants it fast, it wants it easy, it doesn't want to do any like extra work. So I don't know, it's kinda like when you're hungry or I don't know, your fridge and your pantry are full and you have tons of stuff to eat, right? You got the chicken, you got your veggies, you got leftovers, whatever. You could make a meal, but instead of cooking what you already have, you open up your food app and you order takeout. So you pay more money and there's food just sitting in there, right? That's carb burning. Your body has plenty of food in the fridge. It has your stored fat right there, but you keep ordering takeout. So hopefully all these analogies are, sitting with you, you're getting it. So let's hop over into what it's like in fat burning mode. So in fat burning mode, let's see. We Most of us have a store of fat, right? We have plenty of fuel that's sitting on our hips, our belly, our back, our thighs. So the problem is not that you don't have energy, it's that your body is not able to tap into the energy that it already has because fat is a fuel source. You have it on your body. So when you start moving into ketosis, into fat burning, some things change. The carbs are lower, they're less frequent, your insulin is calmer, your body is going to feel safe going into your fat stores instead of, you know, begging for you to come and have more carbohydrates. So fat burning feels calmer, there's less chaos. You feel satisfied. You can go for 2, 3, 4 hours and realize you're not really thinking about food all day. Yes, you still get hungry, right? You still like to eat, but the hunger is more like tap on the shoulder, like instead of like the screaming, the fire alarm. And then there's hormones that come in because when you are in ketosis and you're burning more fat, ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, calms down. Leptin, which is your I'm full hormone, I have enough hormone, it signals more clearly. So instead of your body screaming, like, feed me now, I'm going to die, it's like, I could eat, but I'm all right. And that's why keto is a powerful tool for women that want to lose weight, still want to feel clear headed, still feel functional, because the ketones are going to feed your brain and you have your stored body fat that's going to feed your body. So your hunger is quieter and it's much easier to ride out a little hunger and make a good choice when you're in ketosis. So think about what that can do for you. It's the same life, same job, same kids, but you have fewer like food emergencies. That's a great feeling. So let's go into what we did when we changed our breakfast. So we started by changing our breakfast. We're not changing everything all at once. It's too much, right? We've got to ease into this. We're trying to make this a lifestyle. We're trying to make this a tool that we can utilize going in and out of ketosis. That's what I want for you. And we started with breakfast because in the morning, that's when your body's kind of deciding what kind of day you're going to have, right? Are we going to be carb burning all day? Are we going to be on that roller coaster, or are we going to be fat burning? And we already have a natural spike in cortisol in the morning, right? That's your wake up hormone. And then if you pile on a big load of carbs, you're going to get a sharp blood sugar spike. Your insulin's going to spike. And your body is locked in now to carb burning first thing in the morning. Okay. So if you start your day with a bunch of carbs, you're telling your body already, don't go into the storage. Don't go into the fat. We're going to live on those quick paychecks today. And then you crash by 10 or 11 and you feel like you need another breakfast. Okay. So we started with a 3-to-1 fat to protein breakfast. And when we did that, we stopped slamming our bodies with that big carb hit and gave yourself steady fuel from the fat and the moderate protein. Your insulin is staying calmer, and your body is now able to kind of lean in and recognize it can utilize fat as fuel. Okay, so that first meal is your signal. So we're going to continue on with this trend now. So if you've done that for a full week and it worked for you, I think it's time to move on to the next step. If you were inconsistent with it, you didn't give it a good shot, I would try that again. Go back and watch my previous video from last Sunday and make sure you have all of the things that I suggested that you have, and get started with a keto style breakfast. All right. If you are already with me, then we're going to move on to, oh, I have a comment. Thoughts on fasting? Been doing a 48-hour fasts here and there. Fasting is great, but it's even better if you first know how to get into ketosis. And fasting may not work for everyone right away, but yeah, we can definitely talk about fasting. Let's see. So the week 3 action step. So again, your goal is to get into a state of ketosis. I'm walking you through it very slowly. Okay, so this week again is going to be very clear, very simple. We don't need a whole bunch of rules, right? We just need a couple of things that we need to do. So we're going to keep that same breakfast, 3-to-1 fat to protein ratio. It's a fatty breakfast, high fat, moderate protein, and pretty much 0 carbs, right? So we want to have about 20 grams of protein-ish. If you're a little bit bigger, you might have a little bit more. If you're a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit less, but that's about 3 eggs if you're having eggs for breakfast. And then you want 3 times that in grams of fat. Okay. So it could be eggs and butter. If you like sardines or fish, you could do a tin of sardines and put some olive oil with it. You could do a fatty coffee with a couple of strips of bacon. You just pick what works for you, right? You just keep that ratio. For lunch, you're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so this is like breakfast part 2. You could literally eat the same thing you had for breakfast for lunch if you don't care about variety. But again, you want to have that same ratio. You want to keep that moderate protein and keep your fat up high, 3 times whatever you're having in protein as fat, and almost no carbs. So what that looks like for me might be a small beef patty. You can put some salsa, like a spoonful of salsa or some hot sauce or something on that to give it some flavor. You could put a slice of cheese. I'm trying not to eat as much dairy, but that could be another option. You could top it with maybe half of a small avocado and a few tablespoons of oil. So that would be a lunch. If it's so fatty and the fat is getting to you, cutting it with some like pickles or something acidic can help. Just have a couple, right? So some other options might be a tuna salad, so like tuna or chicken with mayo. You could do a chicken, like a turkey or chicken thigh or something like that. Maybe a chicken thigh, skin on, top it with some olive oil. I wouldn't do like big piles of veggies yet because I know, okay, keto, you can eat vegetables. Yes, of course. But remember, our goal is to get into ketosis. And this is for the women that are struggling to get in. This is for if you're not sure that you actually even been in ketosis yet, you're just eating a keto diet, but you're not really in that metabolic state. We're trying to get into ketosis. Okay. And maybe next week we'll talk about, well, what does that feel like and how do we test for it and all of that good stuff. But for right now, we're just going to change our breakfast and our lunch, keeping the carbs super, super low. All right. And then I want you to keep checking your blood glucose. So you don't have to do it every single morning. Maybe pick 3 mornings and check your blood sugar before you eat, before you have coffee. Wait 30 minutes or so after waking up. Don't do it immediately. And then write that number down. And you're looking for trends. You want to see if there are any shifts in your glucose that week. Fourth is you want to make sure you keep your water and your electrolytes up, right? Aim to drink at least half your weight in ounces of water. Maybe you might need a little bit more. Add in a scoop of electrolytes a couple times a day. So again, I fill up like about 32 ounces of water. I like the Ultima. I put a scoop of that in, but you could use Element or whatever electrolyte you like that does not have any carbs in it. No carbs, no calories, none of that stuff. Okay, and you add that to your water and you're drinking that. Now you want to do that at least twice a day. Okay, so we want to avoid any of the headachy stuff, the keto flu stuff. All right, and then troubleshooting. So if you are really still hungry from breakfast and you're not making it to lunch without thinking about food, take a look at your fat. So it may feel a little like unnatural to eat all the fat. Maybe you're skipping the fat. You want to eat the fat. Maybe even put the fat in first. So have it first and then have your protein because sometimes we'll eat the protein and then not want to eat the fat. So be deliberate with the fat. If you know you've eaten your fat, maybe you need to add a little bit more, add 1 or 2 tablespoons more. You can add it to your meal. You can add it to your coffee. I like to just eat butter. Maybe I'm weird, but you can do that. All right. But don't let the fat be an afterthought. So it's going to give you those calories to make you feel satiated. If you really cannot stretch from breakfast to lunch without a snack, you could try a little bridge snack, like a fat-based snack, maybe a few olives, a piece of cheese, making another fatty coffee. But keep working on having that breakfast in the morning until you need the snack less. Okay? All right. So I think that's it. We're going to continue on with our fatty breakfast, adding a fatty lunch, keeping up with your electrolytes. I suggest, again, you take your multivitamin, and that's it. So let me know if you have any other questions, and I will see you next week. Have a beautiful week. Bye.